Welcome to my first YouTube video. I did not intend for my first video to be about LARPing, but you know, here we are. You're probably thinking, Meg, you have literally been to one LARP game and you played an NPC. Why are you talking about tips for LARPing if you're so new to it? You have a point. But I'm here to talk about something that I'm actually pretty familiar with, and that is costume designing and just costuming in general. Because I have been cosplaying for over 5 years, and I've had a little sprinkle of costume designing and designing my own characters and OCs in there. So I know quite a bit about it. So before you're going to even start designing your costume, you're going to have a character concept. So what kind of character is it? Is it a thief or assassin? Are they a nobleman? Are they an elven hermit that lived in the woods their entire life and they're just barely getting a glimpse of society? There's a whole range of things. So once you decide what kind of character you want to play, and I may make a video on actual character concepts and designing, but that's a whole nother time. This is about the costume. So once you know the concept of your character, you want to get inspiration for the actual costume itself. Think about what kind of silhouette you want, what kind of style you want. Pinterest is your best friend. Just search costume designing or Renaissance costume, like rogue costume, nobleman costume, fantasy dresses, like adventuring gear, adventuring costume. There's a lot of different things that you can search, and just try to find some keywords that you want for your character, like elven costume. Tons of things will show up on the feed once you search stuff like that. So once you have some inspiration of like the silhouette, the kind of concept you want, that's when you start going. Something that I like to do to start is that I pick 3 to 4 colors to go with the color scheme. As you can see right here, for Sin, she has a definitely black, she has a lilac purple, a muted green, or just greens, and some brown or leather accents, like accessories. That way, if you're like me and like to have more than one costume throughout the whole weekend, if it has the same color scheme, then it kind of looks coherent. And you kind of look like the same character. Tip number 2 is you gotta layer. Layering is so important. With Sin, you can kind of see some layering. Is like, I put some petticoats on there, she has the corset, and she has the belt. This is a pretty simple costume to what I'm used to. As you can see with some of these that I've worn to the Renaissance fair, is that I don't have more than one skirt. I have several different layers of skirts. I have the corset, I have the belt, and I have the shirts. And I have some hats thrown in there because when I was at the Renaissance fair, I worked for a hat shop. So I just had to wear a hat every time I was there. If you can see here, I have a character. I first just had this pink dress, and I tried to layer a skirt under it, but it didn't look right. And nothing was like, it looked too plain. Like I had the corset and the belt with it, but it just, something was missing. So I added this little mesh shawl thing on top, and it just like pulled it all together. It was like, yes, that was the missing piece of it. So the biggest thing is that you don't want to just give up when, like, you want to shop around. You want to try a bunch of different things with it, like layer different things, layer different garments on your base piece. Like try to find a base piece for your costume and find little accessories to go with it. I hope that all made sense. I'm a jumbled mess. Tip number 3 is you gotta pay attention to the little details. As you can see, again, with Sin, she has little embroidered patches on her corset to make it look a little less bland. And something that I learned from Momo O'Brien in like all of her costuming videos is that it's kind of like a bass line in music. In people don't really notice that it's there, but people definitely notice when it's not there. Even if it's the smallest detail, do it because it will make your costume so much more better. With Fen, as you can see, yes, obviously she has a bunch of tattoos. Those are really big character details. But you also want to accessorize. With Sin, I put some jewelry on there and I gave her glasses for some reason. I don't know why. But with Fen, I added a ton of different belts on, like, around this base corset. And I made them look more ragged because she's more of a woodland character and it makes it look more organic. And of course, Fen's horns is a very big thing about her. I based it very much on Keyleth from Critical Role. She's not really a whole lot like Keyleth, but I just pulled that aspect of her character design and added it to the character because it was something I liked. And that's another thing. If you like something about a character's design or a character's like how they're drawn or like something about their costume, add it into your own character. Like, it's okay to do that. I probably should have mentioned this as the first tip, but the most important thing that you will ever need for your costume is that it's going to be comfortable. Make sure it's comfortable. When you're making your costume or if you buy your costume, wear it a couple times around your house before the event. That way, if there's something that's uncomfortable, like if something keeps sliding down, something's not staying in place, something is like bothering you, like pushing up against yourself, like that's uncomfortable, chances are that it's not going to be comfortable and it's going to be a problem the entire weekend. So make sure everything stays in place and everything is comfortable when you wear it. If it's uncomfortable for 30 minutes, chances are it's going to be comfortable for several hours. I'm just going to add this as a tip, but like, make a cloak. Cloaks are cool. Keep you warm when it's cold at night. Just make a cloak. I don't care if your character doesn't really use a cloak. Just make a cloak. Cloaks are cool. If you want to buy a cloak, I have an Etsy shop. It will be linked in the description where I sell cloaks. I only have one up so far, so get it while you can. I'm in the works for making another one, but yeah, if you need a cloak and you don't feel like making it, buy a cloak. Please. God, I should have scripted this. I'm just gonna have so much editing of me just staring into the abyss, trying to think of things to say because I didn't plan this video. So, you got your concept. Now it's time to make your costume. But like Meg, I don't know how to sew. I don't want to make my costume. I don't feel like I'm not comfortable making it. Go thrifting. I have found so many pieces. I found this shirt and this dress and this skirt in two separate thrifting finds, and they've matched perfectly. Yes, it's gonna take some time and it's gonna take some very much perusing throughout the store, but I can promise you, you'll find something. I thrifted this little mesh piece that goes on top. I thrifted this fabric for Sin, like the petticoat. I got Cricket's tunic at the thrift store, and I found these fabrics at the thrift store as well. Thrift stores are your friend. Shop around, don't just go to one, find a couple, and you'll find different things. Use curtains as fabric. Most of the fabric I use are from curtains and bed sheets. I promise you, you'll find something at the thrift store. I found this belt. Like, look at how cool it is. I found it at the thrift store, actually a consignment shop that my sister works at. Another great place that I like looking for is Amazon. And it does take a little bit of time to find good things on Amazon, but once you do, they're great. I found this pouch on Amazon, I found this pouch on Amazon, and I found another pouch that's not on here on Amazon. Also, this brass mug, I found it at Aldi. Like, Aldi has some gems in like their non-food section sometimes. But yeah, I got this at the Renaissance Fair. Again, Renaissance fairs are your friend. Things can be pricey, but more often than not, they are high quality and worth it. So if a local Renaissance fair is going on before your first game, get some garb at the Renaissance fair. It's perfect. Maybe don't buy a real sword for it because obviously you can't have a real sword in LARPing. You need a foam. Just the whole thing about LARPing. But yeah, you can find really good boots at the Renaissance Fair. They're gonna be real expensive, but they're gonna be really nice. I'm still saving up for good boots for the Renaissance Fair. You know those leather ones with like the leather leaves? I'm just like, oh, they're so cool. A big thing for LARP is that you buy good pairs of shoes. A lot of people say hiking boots, but those don't look cool. Yes, they don't have to be waterproof, because it's really hard to find some good looking boots that are waterproof and look authentic. So just make sure they're comfortable. That's the most important thing. Get some wool socks and some like socks that are waterproof, and that you should be good to go. I do want to have at least one new costume for each day of the weekend. Just me personally, I'm gonna sweat a lot and it's gonna be dirty. I know a lot of people that wear their same costume throughout the whole weekend and they're fine. I just personally do not want to feel dirty. I don't like it. But you're gonna get dirty in the at LARP. It's just gonna happen. But I like to stay as clean as possible. So different costumes each day. And I'm just extra, so I'm just planning on having more than one costume, so just because I'm extra. And if you are wearing the same costume throughout the whole weekend, I suggest wearing like a tank top or like leggings underneath. That way you can change your undershirts like each day, and less sweat gets on your costume, and that way you won't have to wash it as often. Well, please wash your costumes when you get home. Please wash your costumes. I beg of you. That's another big tip. When you're finished making your costume, throw it in the washing machine and make sure it's durable. If you can't machine wash your garments, then chances are they will not survive LARPing. And you know, washing your clothes is just a good idea. Please wash your garments. And if it's something like a corset that you can't really wash, then just take the strongest vodka you can, if you're of drinking age, the strongest vodka you can to where it's almost rubbing alcohol, put it in a spray bottle and just spray it on to disinfect it. You might be able to use rubbing alcohol? I don't know. I've just heard that you do vodka. And if you're going to do a character wig, make sure it's comfortable, because you're going to be wearing it all day and it's going to be real annoying when you got an itchy head because of your wig. I say that because my Sin wig is very uncomfortable and I plan on getting an Arta wig before my first game in March. It's just a good idea. But if you can't afford to get a nice wig, that's okay. You'll just have to suffer. So yeah, my next video is probably going to be my actual gear and what I'm going to bring to my first game, and I'll probably have a after, like talk about after, like things that I needed, things that I didn't need. But all I know is that the next video is going to be me about talking about my LARP gear and what I'm going to bring. So thank you for watching. This is going to be a pain to edit because I did not script this and But anyway, thank you for watching. And if you're from the Fallen Empires LARP group, hopefully I'll see you in March or sometime in the future in game. Yeah, that's all I got for you. If I think of anything, I'll add it in to post-editing. Probably gonna miss a lot. I literally thought about this right after I stopped filming, but if you want to make armor, Make sure what materials your LARP is okay with, because one of the games I went to is that if you wanted armor, it had to be authentic metal or authentic leather if it was to count. But the LARP I'm going to now, they allow just anything. They allow foam, they allow pleather over foam, they allow foam with duct tape, they allow all sorts of things. So just make sure with your LARP what is allowed and what isn't. So the big thing about it is you want to make sure what's okay with your LARP. But yeah, this is kind of the basics, but I'm gonna make more videos about like specific gear and stuff. So